How do you find the elements you're looking for in Canva? How do you save and organize those elements so you can get back to them quicker? What about entire projects where you want to get back to the project or part of the project? What about favorite fonts if you don't have BrandKit or if you want to be able to save more fonts than BrandKit allows? How do you do these things? What are smart organizational strategies you can use in Canva that are going to save you a ton of time? Well, that's what we're talking about in today's episode, so I hope you stick around. The Elements tab in Canva is the primary place you're going to go to when you're searching for new elements to use in your design. And you're going to find it over here in this left menu. And if you just hover over it, it's going to open up. But then if you hover off of it, it'll close. If you want it to stay open, just click on it once and then it'll stay open. And you can always twirl it closed using this little collapse button here. So this is the Elements tab on desktop. Now, if you're working on mobile or something like that, you may notice that the Elements tab is in the bottom menu, but here on desktop, you find it in this left menu. Okay, so what can we find in this Elements menu? Well, this holds content of all different types. So if we look through here, we can see the different categories we have. If we scroll to the top here, anything that you recently used is going to show up at the top, but then we have shapes, we have graphics, we have polls and quizzes, we have this AI image generator we can use. Now this is slightly different from the Dream Lab, and I talk about that in the video I'll link above, and I talk about this as well, and I'll link this in this video again. But so you can create custom images using this AI image generator, but then you have pre-made stock content, you have tables, photos, videos, audio, chart stickers, frames, mock-ups, collections. So all sorts of different content we can all access here in Canva underneath this Elements menu. So this is where we can find new elements we can use in our design. And so the question then becomes, how do we find these elements and how do we store ones we like so we can get them back to them quickly in the future? Because there are thousands and thousands of elements here inside of Canva readily available for you to use, but finding them if you just go in and just start going through a category is going to take forever. And if you do find something, we need a way to store that so we can get back to it in the future if it's something we know we're going to want to use again. So finding elements. This is where this search box at the top of this menu comes in really handy because you're almost always going to want to start with a search just to narrow things down. So let's just work an example here. So maybe you might type in something like umbrella. So you type something in and then you see the categories below start to populate with elements that sort of match your search. So I typed in umbrella, and so now we can see graphics here, we can see photos, we can see videos, and even some audio where umbrella is part of the title there. So all these different content categories all matching our search up here. Now you can go through and you can click on one of these categories. I can click in on the element, I can click see all, or I can use this top menu up here to go under graphics, photos, videos, shapes, and then if I expand this out even more, there's even charts, mockups. So all these different ways you can navigate here. So if you wanted to get into under photos, click on photos here, right here in this top menu. And then you also notice that right below here, they give us some keywords that they think might be related. Another way to help you when you're searching, so something like rainy day, rain, cloudy. So they're going to populate not only these categories up here, but then they're going to give you some related keywords they think might be relevant to your search. Now, the other thing you want to remember is that prompt specificity matters. So the more precise we can be with our search here, the more descriptive, probably the better chance we have of getting results we want. So if I just typed in umbrella up here, we're seeing images of an umbrella, but what if I actually wanted person with umbrella? Well, I should probably add that to my search because it's going to give me more specific results. Maybe I want perfect person with a red umbrella. So the more specific you can be up here, the more likely you are to get search results down here that match. Now here's someone with a yellow umbrella, even though I searched for a red umbrella, but we can see all these top choices here have people in them with red umbrellas. So be specific with your search. Think about those keywords that are going to help return results that are more likely to match what you're looking for. Now, besides making smart use of the search bar here, there are a few other ways we can guide our search to get even better results and find what we want more quickly. Probably probably the most prominent next one is this search filter option up here. So you see this little icon here, and if you click on that, you can bring up this sort of filter dialog, and in here you can come in here and make some selections to filter your search already. So it's still going to use this person with red umbrella option we have up here, but then suddenly we can come up here and tell it maybe we just want animated items. So if we do that, we're going to click out here. We can see there aren't actually any animated items, so we don't have any animated items that match our search, but we can come up here and say, okay, I just want things that are in a vertical format. So now if we click on that, suddenly we're just getting these vertical photos. And so depending on what you're searching for, you may end up using some of these search filters to limit your search even farther. And you notice when you do have a search filter turned on, it's going to have a little blue circle up here to let you know this search filter is being used. It'll also have a number to let you know how many filters you're currently using. So let's click in here again. Let's do something simpler. Let's just do celebration. So I'm going to do something like celebration. We'll go ahead and click that. Now this lets us know we still have a filter turned on. We have that vertical orientation turned on. Let's go in here and let's turn that off. So I can use this clear all down here. And then I could come in here and let's see if there are any animated ones that match that. So come in there, animated. Now it's under photos still. So remember, you might want to click out under everything. And now suddenly we do have some graphics. I think I forgot I had that turned on before, but remember, if you're in a category here, then that's going to apply over top of your filters. So you may want to come in here and be overall this option here if you really want to see everything in all different categories. So now if I wanted to see those animated graphics for celebration, I could come in here and see there are a number of graphics sort of representational of the celebration search that are animated. And of course you could come in here again and try different things. So let's turn that off. So I'll just click on that to turn that off. You can also just check something on and off like that. And then if you're a pro user, you have the ability to come in here and sort of sort by free versus pro graphics. I don't think you have this if you are a free Canva user, but you can just look for that crayon icon to let you know whether it's a pro Canva element. Of course, there are tons of Canva elements for free and pro users, but you get even more if you're pro. So that is one of the advantages of a pro account. Now, cutouts only, if you do cutouts only, and let me just come back here and see if we have anything. Let's go under all. Cutouts basically is something with the background already removed. So this here, this, all these items have the background removed already. Of course, you can use that background remover or that magic grab tool if you are a pro Canva user. So you can a lot of times remove the background on your own. But for free users, you might want to try cutouts only sometime if you're looking for something already ready to go. So you have these different categories, and you also can come in here and you can search by color. So if I click on pink here, it's going to give me celebration things. But if I come under here, now we can see it's really limiting that color palette based on my selection here in this filter bar. So this filter bar, very helpful when you're trying to sort of narrow in even farther on the sort of elements you are looking for. Now you can just click on any of these results and automatically add it to your design, but you can also use the three dots in the upper right corner when you hover over an item. And if you do that, it's going to bring up even more information about that particular graphic. So this is telling me that this is free image for Canva Pro, and it's giving me a lot of related keywords. And if I click on any of these, it's going to again search by that keyword. So I could click on this and it's going to update my search. And then I can go in here again, use those three dots. So all these different options here. But let me go back to where I was before. So instead of home decor, I had celebration. So let me just type that celebration back in, because if we look at that one I was just looking at, we see it's got the description. So again, descriptors that you could use to search for other related things if you wanted to see things similar. Of course, you could also just use this see more like this option. And if you do see more like this, it's going to find similar items to what you're searching for. So that's another way you can do it. It's giving you these recommendations here. Let me just go back here so you can just back out to where you were. Also under here, you have some other options. This star option we're going to talk about in a minute, but you can also directly add this to a folder. Again, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but then also you could report it if it was an inappropriate image, or you have this view collection option. You're not always going to see this view collection, but certain graphics are part of collections. And if I see that, we're going to see all these similar items. So whenever you have a collection, it's usually things that are grouped together because they were part of the same photo shoot. They're very similar. So you can look under the three dots, and if you see that view collection, you know you're going to be able to find some very similar items just by viewing that collection and seeing what else you have there. So these are all ways you can find items here as you're searching in Canva. But now that you find elements you want to save to be able to use later, How do we do that? Well, we just got a hint a minute ago, so let's talk about now all the ways to organize elements so you have them saved for the future, and then once we save them, how are we going to be able to get back to them in the future? So let's talk about the next steps in the process here. How do you save items you like? How do you organize items? And then how do you make use of those items once you have them sort of organized for future use? So coming up with the right strategy for organizing not just your Canva elements, but uploads, your Canva projects, this is really going to be crucial in developing a good workflow where you save time. So we really need to understand this. So we're going to talk about some of the most basic strategies, and then we're going to get into a few more advanced strategies. Now, all of these strategies involve using folders. In Canva, whether you're a free user or a pro user, you have unlimited Canva folders, and you're really going to need to take advantage of these and come up with an organizational structure that allows you to easily and quickly access items in the future. Okay, so let's go over the most basic strategies. I mentioned these 3 dots before, so as you're searching for items here under the Elements tab, you can use these 3 dots, and you have this Add to Folder option, and you have this star option. So we'll talk about the star option first. This is the most basic option. If you just star something, it becomes starred. And then if you click View Starred Items here, what it's going to do is it's going to take you to your starred folder. So I see at the very bottom here, I have this starred option here, and this is anything I've starred has been added to my starred folder. So in Canva, by default, you get a starred folder, and anytime you star something in the way I just did, it's going to end up in this starred folder. Now you can come in here and you can click on something and you can unstar it, and it'll get removed from that folder. And again, because I just visited the starred folder, here it is over in this left menu. Now I've mentioned this left menu before. This left menu can become terribly cluttered, and we can see I have to scroll way back up here to get to sort of the other items that are the main items here in this menu. Everything underneath this line, though, I can get rid of, and so you might want to X out things you haven't used, you don't need on the current project, and that way it's a little easier as you open folders to see them here. And again, the start option gets me to that start folder, and then as I'm searching for elements, so back here under the Elements tab, I find things you like. If you find something you like, you can star it, and boom, it's going to end up in that start folder. It'll put a link up here, but of course you can also just come over here and visit that starred folder, and there are the items we just saved, okay? So starring things, this is the first way we can organize things. But do I think it's the best way? No, I do not, because everything is going into this starred folder. That's not very helpful in the long run as you get more and more items, and so this might become terribly cluttered. So I think it's better to develop content categories, create your own folders based on what makes sense for you, what sort of work you do, what sort of categories make sense for you, and then that gives you a similar method, and instead of using that start option, we can come in here and we can directly add this to a folder. So again, use the 3 dots, add something to a folder. You can choose any of your folders that already exist, or you can create a new one. Again, you get unlimited folders here in Canva. So maybe we want to say something like celebration, and we're going to have a folder called celebration. So since it can't find that, create new, it's going to create a new folder. No, I want to call it celebration. So we're creating a new folder called celebration, and we're going to move to that new folder. And so now anytime I want to find those elements, I can come up here in this left menu to this projects tab. This is where you access all your folders. And in here, you can look for your images, folders, designs, all these different things. But you can search up here. So I'm just going to search for celebration, since that's what we named our folder. And I want to specifically search for folders. There it is. And if you click on it once, open it up. And again, very quickly, add something to your design. Okay, so using folders in a smart way like this is going to be crucial to developing a smart workflow, an efficient workflow here inside of Canva. Now, the other advantage that your own folders have over that star method is that when you star things, there's certain types of content, videos, uploads that you cannot star items that way, but you can move those items to a folder. So because of this, it allows you to store even more assets, and the fact that you can save projects off to a folder essentially means you can get back to anything you use in a Canva project because you can save that project off to a folder. So what sort of folder structure should you adopt? How should you take advantage of it? And how does the ability to save a project off to a folder help you beyond just the ability to access that project again? Let's look at a few examples so you can understand some really powerful strategies you can start to employ to save time when working in Canva. Okay, so let's start by looking here at the Canva home screen. Now, by default on the Canva home screen, you have this left tab here, and I can see some of my starred items, including starred folders, right here automatically from the Canva home screen. Now your other option would be coming under this projects tab, and if I come under the projects tab, here's where you can get a really good look at all your folders. So here under the projects tab, then you can go under folders and you can see all your folders here, and you can come in here and you can sort them in different ways. By default I have them sorted alphabetically here, but I could do reverse alphabetical, I could do newest edited, oldest edited, most relevant, some different ways. Now I like to keep it alphabetical, and the other thing you might notice is I have this one main Learn Canva with Greg brand folder, and I have put a 1 in front of that, and the reason why I've done that is then because alphabetically it then gets sorted first, so it's always going to be the top folder here I see on top of all my folders here when sorted alphabetically in this projects view. Now you'll also notice that I have this starred, and because it's starred I see it over here in this left menu. So to get items to show up here in this left menu, you can just star them. So if I wanted to star this upcoming one here, if I star this folder right here just like that, now suddenly I can see it here, and I'm even gonna see this on my home screen. So any starred folders I have are gonna show up here on the left, and even when I launch a project, so let's say I'm launching this project here and I go in here, by default we can see those starred folders here. So even if we have this closed out, you're working in Canva, I can bring that back at any time using this icon up here, and I could navigate somewhere within here and I could launch a project. Now there is an important distinction between launching a project this way and actually within Canva adding something to the existing design you're working on. So in other words, when you bring up this left menu here, you're going to end up launching a project if you click through on a final design. But what if I wanted to just add something to this project? That's when instead of using this menu, you will want to use this projects tab. Let me show you what I mean. So if I click on this projects tab, then I can go in here and I can start to see, okay, here are my folders within here. If I want to search for a folder, again, here's my main folder here. If I can't find it, I could just type a 1 because I know it has a 1 in the name. I can look at folders. Here's that folder. I can get into that folder, all the subfolders. So now I can go in favorites, and now I can go into my favorite frames folder. Now I can actually add something to my design. Okay, so again, once you're inside a folder, you can see all, you can see designs, you can see images. So if I go over to images here, I have some favorite frames. Actually, let me search under my favorite textures. So if I go into textures now these are actually just the actual images where I can come in here and boom, and I can lay something over top. So if I wanted to add some texture here to this top photo, I could come in here and I could build it out this way. So this is a very important distinction between using this projects menu here and just using this little left menu here, because if you open the menu, then you're actually going to end up navigating that menu, exiting out of your project. But if you're trying to add something, add an element to your existing design, that's when you want to navigate in under this projects tab, find your way to the folder, and then from there you can come in here and you can add something to your design. So if I want to add a lighting effect to this, I could come in here, I could drop it in like that. Let me click on that, lower that opacity down a little bit, and then suddenly I've brought something new into my design, making use of my folder structure. So make sure you understand this projects tab is where you want to go when you're adding stuff directly to your design, and when you're trying to launch another design, that's when you can come up here and open up this menu icon here. Now inside this lighting effects folder, I just have some different lighting effects. These are just PNG files with some transparency built in. But remember, you can store not just images in folders, but you can store any other kind of content, or you can actually store full projects. Let me just back out to show you what I mean. So if I come into this favorite frames folder, we can see in here, I have the all I can choose, but we also have images, we have designs. Had I had videos in here, you'd see another tab here that said videos. So I can tab through my different types of content that are within this folder. I have individual images, which I could just drag out here. I actually have designs, right? These are full design files here. So this one here is actually a design with 6 pages. If I actually click on this, I can actually see the different pages, and I could actually click on one of these to actually add that page, and it would say replace current page, add as a new page. So I can actually add a whole page to this design. Now let me show you another file. So let me just go back here and go out of favorite frames. Let me go into my favorite fonts, and now this one here is actually a fonts file. Let me just show you what this file looks like. This is just a Canva design file where I have stored my favorite fonts, and what I did was I came in here and I built out my favorite font combinations, and I've named these according to the font I'm using. So I have one for my heading, my subheading, and then for my body text, and I built out all the combinations that I currently like, and I can sort of add to this as I want. And then now I'm setting up a way where I can very quickly get back to these in the future. Yes, I know if you're a pro Canva user, you can come under here under brand fonts and you can set up your favorite heading, subheading, but only a limited number. And you can't do any of this if you're a free user. Well, what I'm showing you now, you can use regardless of whether you're a free user, a pro Canva user, and it just has a lot more flexibility. So I have this file here. I've saved it to that favorite fonts folder. Now, if I'm in a different design here, let's say I want to use those items here on this page. Let me get rid of this extra rectangle I have in here. But let's say I wanted to update the fonts in this design and I wanted to pull something from my favorite fonts file. I'm using the projects tab. I'm navigating to that. I can click in. I can see my different pages here. You can get a thumbnail preview, so I can sort of click in, and then if I want to replace current page, no, I'm probably going to add this as a new page, but now I have this Oswald bold, Oswald regular, open sans light. Since these are not now all part of this project, very quickly I can go to this page, I can click on my heading. If I come up here to change the font now, I'm going to see the document fonts, including the ones I just added. So this Oswald now is in here. I can come in here really quickly, bold that, bring that up. Here's my other one here. This is just regular Oswald, and then this here, I can come in here and I can change that to the open sans light, and then you can change all instances right here. So change all. So very quickly, boom, I can update this document. Now this is just a one-page document here, but imagine using this strategy on a 20-page document where you have lots of text and you want to replace all instances of one font with another font. Well, using this sort of strategy can save you a ton of time, and it has a ton of flexibility because, again, in here, if I come into this favorite fonts file here, I have all my different favorite fonts, so I can sort of just add some, click on some to preview them. So let me do this one here, add a new page, and I can just preview them in here. I can get rid of ones I don't want, and then of course anything I keep in here, then when I come in under my fonts here, I'm going to see it as part of the document fonts right here, and so it's something I can very quickly add to another font within that document. Okay, so this is just smart workflow in my opinion, and hopefully this gets sort of your creative juices flowing in terms of thinking, hey, there might be way more ways I can take advantage of sort of Canva files and saving my collections than I was thinking of before, because you really can do a ton of things, because there's no way to just click on a font and right click that font and save it to a folder. But if you create a project with your favorite fonts, that is something you can save off to a folder. So anytime you have a file and you want to save it to a folder, you can come up here, choose file, and then you can move to folder. So right here, move to folder, and then once you have it saved to a folder, it's going to show you right here. So this is currently in the current folder, so it's going to show when you're looking at a file, if it's in a folder, it's going to show right up here at the top. But again, you can always use this move to a folder, and then you can choose a folder and move it there. Okay, so I want you to start thinking about all these creative ways you might be able to take advantage of folders and this type of organizational structure within Canva. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you soon.